Welcome everyone to my new stage and my podcast, Witness, where I'll be sharing with you stories of human encounters, soul family reunions, life's touch, the story of our collective journey, walking each other back home. Today, I have with me a dear friend of mine, Ross Mathis. What can I tell you about him? Equally Asian soul, the closest soul family I'm aware of, wonderful human with a big heart, a coach himself, teacher, special education teacher. The rest I will let him share himself. Welcome, Ross.
Hello, Mary. How are you doing?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Glad to be here. It's nice to reconnect and catch up and talk about what we love.
And what do we love? What we are here to do?
To support other human beings and each other to grow, to explore, to learn more about who we are and what else is out there for us to achieve higher things.
How do you do this?
So it can be from different places. So it'd be about really seeing our consciousness and what's going on subconsciously as well as we live by it most of the time. And then recognizing what makes us, what makes us tick, what makes us unique, different, and understanding how we can cooperate with everybody else so we can grow. Because my point of view or my understanding is as a collaborative, together we can grow. It's just about understanding our relationships with that and with us, first of all. So you have the consciousness, understanding what your awareness, self-awareness, and then your collaboration and your reflection. How do we build relationships and what's the relationship with us? From that, we can understand how we can grow because we can navigate where we may not necessarily fit in, because I don't think there's a box for anyone, but it's like almost a feeling and a thought that understanding it feels right to be doing what you're meant to be doing in life, if that makes sense.
And who is Ross Mathis?
Good question. So how can I break that down in the last 30 years of me trying to discover who I am? I want to say 30 years. It's more realistically, it's probably about 10 years because 20 years I was still trying to figure out who I was. So taking it back a little bit, obviously growing up, understanding who I am, what I want to do was very confusing. I've always been quite quiet as a kid growing up, not knowing what was going on, just figuring out life, but just being quite observant. I was the quiet one most of the time. And moving into like the teens, the teenage, I was always quite creative. And I love my music. And I loved to explore socially in different places, trying to figure out who I am, what I was trying to do. And so I was already quite active in self-discovery without realizing, but it was very subconsciously. So just being a teenager, going out skating with my friends and just being quite a normal child, doing those sort of things. And then I got into school and I was still figuring things out about who I was, like you do as a kid. And I had a lot of performing arts, a lot of drama. And I seemed to get along with everyone, but not fitting anywhere. So I've had my certain groups, like I've been in music quite a lot. So that's why I thought I fit. That's why I fit in. That's my area. Moving out of that with the band, with the music, which is fantastic. I was obviously the world of work. And then with work, that gives you a external reflection of where you are. Because you understand that you learn about rejection and acceptance. You get a job through the recruitment process, and you learn about acceptance, belonging. You learn about collaboration, working for someone, and receiving your somewhat significance in a place where you have just learned what that might be in that job role, for example. And I did that for a long time. I did about 14 different companies I've worked for, from corporate to like working in law firms to working in building work, scaffolding, went into hairdressing, and I have done retail, bar work, obviously hospitality, and I've done entertainment. And all those different varieties have kind of given me aspects of what I do and how I've sort of molded a few things to where I am now. The assets and what it is about communication. So trying to stick with the question, who's Ross? From 14 different companies and having another a separate business and then closing a business in food, I'm very passionate. I love to communicate is something that I like to focus on because I've always wanted to express and get to know people and to understand other people's communication and understand what they want to do and who they are as well. I've been always quite interested in other people, so I'm quite curious by nature. So that's developed me to be what I am now. But I didn't know what I was going to be. Obviously, as you do, you just feel what feels right at the time. And I wanted to be so many different things, different careers. But sometimes, like you said, you let the universe sort of guide you when you listen to these things, these thoughts, intuition. You find a path. Went back to college and studied counselling. Fantastic. And then I found a module, which was life coaching. And that sort of perked my ears up a little bit. And through my own self-development, following my online mentors, the Bob Proctors, the Peter Sages, the classics. What's his name? And the famous one. My mind's gone blank. Alicia Power. What was his name? But yeah. So all the different coaches I've had, and then I discovered I wanted to get some coaches on my own. So I discovered some coaches from America, not far from you, and I'm also from Ireland, and going on my own coaching journeys, the different courses, and then it developed into what I am now as a clarity coach. But I never know, I'm never going to know who exactly Ross is, because we constantly grow, we're constantly ever changing, constantly reinventing ourselves to find something that works for us. And one thing might work and we stay with it a long time and suddenly it stops because you realize there's more to you. And it's as you grow, your higher purpose, expand, ascend, however we can describe that, whether that's in our physical realm or spiritual realm. So knowing who we are is more of a bit like music. You listen to music all the time. You can have different genres of music. You can understand things that are like you get, some things you're not too sure about, and some that you just listen to all the time. That's a bit like being you. You stick with you for a while until something changes, and it's being able to accept changes. So yes, so who is Ross Matthews? I'm going to put a dot after that because that could be a selection of different things.
Yet to be discovered. I agree with that. I mean, we know each other for 2 years now. And just to give some story behind actually why I decided to invite you particularly to be a guest for this episode of Witness is that we met under very interesting circumstances. Literally, we witnessed each other growing and expanding and shining on the stage. You mentioned that you were on your journey of becoming a coach. At that time, I just became a coach. I finished coaching certification and I started my business. And I visited this workshop in London, meeting with my mentors, with my colleagues, and you happen to be scouting for your mentor, so to say. And you were called on the stage to share your story. You had a very powerful breakthrough. And interestingly, I didn't even remember until I saw the video the other day. I was the one asking you the question that delivered your breakthrough. And the interesting part about it was that was my first time being brave enough to speak on the microphone again after losing my voice due to the rare illness. And at that moment, my being felt expanding, liberating. Not to mention that because of the soul connection that we had, even that our humans did not recognize each other at that point, I didn't know what I was doing even. That's when my light language came online. And for those of you watching and not familiar, all those movements that you see, this is energy work, is who I am as higher essence. I am speaking a multidimensional language, touching all levels of our beings, of our souls. And there is no conversation with Ross ever that I can just stay put and not talk to him in 5 other channels. So this is an invitation for all of you to listen, not only with your ears, but with your eyes, with your inner perceptions, with your heart, because the two of us, the energy that we represent here, speaks to the soul, brings the original calling back forward, and co-create things beyond human imagination. With that being said, back to you to share about your experience on that stage.
Thank you for bringing some great memories up. So that was London, wasn't it? And as you explained, it was a coaching part of the coaching course, and we were meeting up. And I actually remember feeling very unsure about myself because obviously it's a journey. The coaching journey yourself personally is obviously it's about challenging yourself and trying to work out who you are as a coach and what you want to do and how it feels, and we're asking questions. And I had just this feeling to ask a question, and my question was based around, what if the client doesn't give you any answers? And it was talking to one of my fears. I was talking to one of my shadows of me feeling like I'm not going to be able to help. I'm not good enough. I'm not going to be able to find a solution as a coach. So that's why I asked the coach at the time that question. So he replied, and all he said was, "Come up to the stage." He didn't give me an answer. So suddenly, in front of this big group of all these coaches and potential future coaches, I had to go to the front of the stage, sat down next to him with a big microphone to speak about that question and the answer. And he ended up going through this whole process. Luckily, I was quite happy to be in front of people because I naturally love the stage and I've always have done. And that wasn't any bother at all. It was just about the question I had and the process. So it was a coaching process that he did with me on stage. So what happened was, the question was, what if no one has an answer in the client? So that experience was something that I had to really deep down discover what I meant by that. So I had to really deep think about what that was for me. And he was kind of asking the questions to get that out of me. And he was reflecting back and talking to the audience. And they was like, what do you think he's trying to say here? What do you see in Ross? And then that was really important because I was seeing what they saw and what I was saying, which means that was something that I realized that was stopping me from going somewhere. So I'm trying to remember what the conversation was like. It's quite a while ago, but I remember that. Where does it come from? The question was, where does that come from? And I was like, I think it comes from not being able to help and support my parents, because I just feel like I want to help them. They support me, but I want to support them. And that's where that came from. Being somewhat unable to help as a kid, and parents are supposed to, naturally support, but I was unable to do that because if ever they were upset or ever they were, feeling feeling down. And I saw that in my dad, and my dad had chronic depression, and so I saw that really affected me, but I didn't realize that at the time. So I think a lot of my fears was like not being able to help someone. That's kind of where it came from, and not being good enough to do that. And that was quite a breakthrough for me, I guess, knowing that that's where what my drive is. I want to support and help anybody going through that situation, and knowing the next stage was just knowing that I can do it. So, yeah.
If I remember correctly, you were sharing at the time about your mom and how you were trying to help her overcoming, obviously, the loss of your dad. And that was the reason why it started. It was the desire to find a way to support your mom, help your mom. Would you like, do you feel comfortable sharing more, or in whichever way, how did that evolve since? Because that was 2 years ago. How is now that relationship with your mom evolve, or how did your work and committing to coaching further help you in supporting her?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm happy to talk about that. Absolutely. So yeah, I obviously me and my mum was always I've always had a close relationship. I honor that relationship. It's very very special and unique, like every relationship is with your parent. However that might look like. So I've always been really close to mum and always been sort of humanly described as a mummy's boy, definitely. So when I lost my dad and watching mum go through that process, it was tough because we both want to help each other. And there's nothing I could have done financially for my mum. There's nothing I could have done. I couldn't do anything external in the physical like sense. And I could only be there for her emotionally is what we can do the most. And I was still understanding the concept of losing someone because it was a bit, for me, it was a bit unusual and a bit weird. And then having someone to have like a real deep conversation with, and that was luckily the communication grew with my mom, so we had to talk about these things. And through my training in counseling and coaching, I was able to have conversations with my mom that were really like really important and profound, and we would talk quite a lot about it. Um, and I just wanted to take that pain away from her, but she wanted to do the same for me. And when you see someone suffer like that, it's not just my mom. Like I was watching my sister. Like I was thinking of her pain. She was a lot more closer to dad, from my perspective, than I was. But then that wasn't necessarily true. It's just what I thought at the time, and it was quite tough to witness that. And that had implanted like a narrative, which was like I wasn't able to support or help mum because I was like unable to really understand how to do that. And necessarily until I got older, it was just about listening and talking and able to give that space for that. And we do. And developed relationships got stronger and stronger, and that's great. So coincide to that in terms of my coaching, that has developed because of the practice almost, as well as you having clients and the coaching process, but having that real alignment of support conversations and without realizing what I was doing at the time was really beneficial. And but it's been amazing to watch the journey as well of her growth and how she deals with how resilient she really is because she's a warrior. My mum, she has dealt with a lot in life and so much grief and other things has happened. So yeah, I look up to her immensely.
That is a beautiful share. And it's really important to talk about because as children, we always want to support our parents. If you think about even when we are little, all we do is to make our parents happy. We change ourselves to make our parents happy. We want to make sure those are our closest humans. We want to make sure that in a strange way they're safe, because as long as they're safe and happy, we will be safe and happy. That's how we learn about the world. But growing up and learning about life, and I think we had that conversation, we all come to one point where we realize that the best way to help them heal is to heal ourselves. Because when we heal ourselves, when we work on our ancestral traumas, everything, we actually heal 7 generations behind. We heal 7 generations ahead.
Yeah.
And I have a little the other side perspective, because I'm also a voice mom, so I'm a parent.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will do anything for my son. I don't want him to suffer and to experience any hardship.
Yes,
And
I appreciate that.
everything that I had to go with my illness, with my divorce, through the whole process,
Yeah.
I've been trying to make sure that he comes out on the other side the least damage. I was thinking at the time, but the more and more I was going into my awakening, my inner healing, inner journey, I realized, and I have much bigger awareness than more people. I witnessed how me healing myself literally was taking away from the burden of his own soul and karma, and he was evolving in a way that is almost unseen on a soul level for a young child. Because I was doing the work. So, in a way, I want to. I'm sharing this as an experience because I remember I want to help her. I'm coaching her so she can heal. And now we know it's the best way to help is to help yourself, to go with yourself. As Ryan said in the workshop, when you said that you don't want to lift bricks, you want to lift people.
Yeah.
And the best way to do this is lift yourself, especially when you are an ancient soul, like both of us, because you don't even realize when you do your own healing journey, you affect all your past, present, future self. Even when I do my work, in a weird way, I affect your healing. Like I make your journey easier. So an interesting thing to witness, to realize. And
Yeah.
for everybody, really, I mean, we are the living proof that working on yourself, it's literally the best way to help the whole collective.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Even if you don't know what you're doing, even
Hmm.
if you think that you're not doing anything, you are changing the world just by being. And that's something that each and every one of us need a reminder of. Because we forget, we think that we need to do, we're here to do something. As you said, so many jobs, trying to figure out what do I need to do, what do I need to do? When the answer is, who do I need to be? Who am I? Who is Ross Matthews?
Hmm.
And I like that you mentioned the music because the Ross Matthews that I know doesn't show to the world a lot of the music, a lot of the singing, but the way I've witnessed you, Ross Matthews is the most Ross when you're drumming, when you're singing, when you're on your guitar. It's like your being comes alive.
Yeah.
Your soul is singing. Your eyes are sparkling. It's like you are connecting to your true voice, to your soul song.
Yeah. 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 That is the most I do feel at home. I do feel at home. And that's because it's like because as you know, music is of a vibration in many ways. You know, you study music, you know frequencies and vibrations and um how that works. But in terms of vibrations in a human being, I spent a lot of my time playing music at school, and that's when I was healing the most. You know, my dad, a lot going on at home, and I would go into the recording studio, whether it was at school or band practice, and I would come out feeling electric. I would come out feeling like you said, expanded. That excitement that we get, that weightlessness that we feel that anything's possible because I've just played music with four of my best friends, and it was the best thing in the world. And I was just like, there's nothing else you want to do in life because that's your purpose, right? But what it was for me was communication, expression. What it was for me was um, resonance, resonance to the higher power, resonance to the abundance of what Ross can be, and remembering that life is more clearer when you are in alignment with what you want to do. And what I'm learning recently is actually when I've had blockages in my coaching or I go, oh, I need to create content, but I can't. It's because I'm not embracing what Ross is. I'm not embracing the music. I'm not embracing the fun, what Ross is. I think that I have to be like structural and, like in a certain way, my brain doesn't work structural. So I sit down and to try and do some work on a computer, my mind goes blank. So moving back into the embracing the music is, yeah, that is me. That's being at home, and it's a good reflection, actually, reminding me that I've got to find a way of incorporating it somehow. So, yeah.
I can absolutely what's the word? Give me the word. Confirm that you are sometimes stuck in a I need to do this
Yeah.
rather than really allowing yourself to be and to be so you can get your being full again,
Mm.
so you can give.
Mm.
And this is normal for so many, typical for so many of us light leaders. We're healers. We want to help.
Mm.
But we need to remember that we cannot give out from an empty cup. It's from the overflow
Mm.
of our own beingness that we can give so much
Mm.
to
Yeah.
so many people. And this is actually reminding me to the next instance of witnessing
Mm-hmm.
that I think it's worth mentioning because this is how we end up in Glastonbury. I was, let's go and explore Glastonbury. Oh, I have this and this and this, and I'm busy. But then in the end, you decide, okay, I deserve a break. And there is a lot of magic that happened in Glastonbury that I know you're not aware of, but as the beings that we are, we did so much great work.
Mm-hmm.
We created so much flow into the
Mm.
but we had quite the adventure at the end of the night. And if you feel comfortable, I want to share what we encountered and what happened. How do you remember it? Our meeting with Jamie.
Of course. Yeah. Sure. So when we encountered, this is what you're referring to the journey on the way back, right? On the bus.
Yeah, when we met Jamie.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, we were on the bus on the way home, coming back from Glastonbury to Bristol, and we all sat in different places but near each other because it was an empty bus at night. So I was in one row, someone was in front of me, and then you were there. So you were 2 rows ahead. And
So I was in front of you.
yeah, you're in front of me. That's it. And the next stop, we stopped at, someone got on. And this gentleman came on the bus, and he just got on the bus behind me, sat right behind me. Um, he was very friendly, very already getting to speak. So he noticed I was eating, so we gave him some grapes. We had some grapes, didn't we? We gave him some grapes, and we were just talking and things. And this boy was called Jamie, and Jamie was autistic, and he had this lovely being about him. He was warm, and he was very inquisitive and very straight to the point when you asked the right questions. And he was speaking really personal questions about about my parents and my family. And I was like, this is so interesting, when you first meet someone and they're going quite a personal, there's not small talk questions. And it's like, and obviously being me, I'm very open because I recognized it was genuine interest and he was creating a lovely conversation. And so I answered a question. And so I spoke about my dad to a stranger, technically, I've never met, who's lovely. And he was really quite unrelaxed, not like subconsciously quite compassionate with it, and he was really talking about it really nicely. And but as we were talking, I was asked a question about him and what he's up to and everything, and I think I realized that he was actually trying to escape his parents because he had had enough for the day and he wanted just to go to the arcade. Bear in mind, it was like 8 o'clock at night, and there's no arcades open in Bristol at 8 p.m. So looking over to yourself and the people we were with, realizing what's going on, we quite subtly create the conversation about what he's up to, what his plans are, so we can understand where he's going to get off and everything, and trying to find out who his parents were and family, so we can find out how we can get him home safely. So this was the whole concept of like conversations we're having getting from Glastonbury to Bristol, which is about a, a good 45 minutes to an hour journey on the bus. And we finally got to Bristol and he didn't really have a plan and he had no money either. Because obviously, he didn't have the concept of that. He just wanted to get to arcade, playing the arcades, and that was it. There was no other thought. So as we were going to get off the bus, I was suggesting how we would go together as a group. And then whilst I was doing that, I was obviously messaging, found out that they had a brother, and also luckily their mum was following the bus behind. And we didn't know that at the time, but that's what we recognised. So we walked him to the Tumbleweed train station, and we were hanging about with him, and his mum happened to be there because we sort of communicate where we're going to be. And then it was a journey of just really, it was just really nice to have someone like Jamie to ask some lovely questions, but also to see where I was able to support Jamie and having that instinct and for us to understand that. And he was there for a reason. He was certainly there for a reason, and he was a universal message, I would say. And as you know, where I'm going with this, you mentioned to me that you felt the presence of someone next to you, and it was my dad. Is that right?
Yeah, this is the story. In short, from my perspective and my witness,
Hmm.
as we were going on the bus, instead of sitting next to you because we were working together, but I felt that no, that seat is taken. I had to sit in front of you. And it wasn't until later that it came to my awareness that, yes, your dad was present with us. Actually, I think it was when you mentioned that your mom was trying to talk to him, and I was like, she could not talk to him because he was with us.
Hmm.
He was, and you found little lady monk on your backpack next to it, and you were
Yeah.
reminded of it. But yes, Jamie was 100% a messenger. I mean, after everything went down in Glastonbury, because we were doing some major green work, and not all the energy were welcoming. So on my side, I was tired and kind of putting protection around me. So as soon as I saw him, I was actually sitting in front of you. And
Hmm.
he first was sitting next to me, and as soon as he came, it's like my language came on, and I was inquiring, like, what, in a weird way, I just want to say it as it comes. I don't know if it makes sense, but I was checking his credentials. It's like, who are you? Why you're here? What is our contract with you? Or what is your contract with us? And he felt very beautiful, angelic energy, like very, very pure soul. And he was like, don't worry, I'm here to help. I'm here to deliver wrote a message. And I'm here with someone else who was your dad. And that's, I think, when he went behind you and he started asking all those personal questions about your dad and your mom. And
Yeah.
but what was the most obvious, it's not the good reason, but it was the thing that was screaming out of the whole situation was, imagine if that day you decided to stay home and not join us in Glastonbury.
Yeah.
You're literally the one person on that bus qualified, equipped to help him. Even that I have so much awareness, I didn't know how to handle the situation.
Yeah.
I have some awareness, I have some experience because I had some experience difficulties with my son with sensory processing. So I was able to help once we get into the noisy room and everything, and he started getting agitated. But you were the one, you knew the right words, you knew how to handle a situation. Because one other person, I think, suggested, oh, let's call the police. But police doesn't know how to communicate. And this is so, so sad. And I'm saying it as a parent. I didn't have so much difficulties with my son, but I witnessed other kids because we were in those communities. And as a parent, you don't know what to do. Jamie was around 27 years old, young alone, with the mind of a child. He was telling us that he's running away from his mom because she's evil. And I did not feel any of that connection. But we also didn't know what the situation was. But from the parent perspective, imagine if we are calling the police and then he's saying my mom is emo and they lock me at home and I cannot go out. And then when the mom came in, it was nothing like this. It was just him being overwhelmed. It's called autism fatigue. I think
Sorry,
I think
it
there
was
is a term like autism
autism
fatigue or
fatigue.
fatigue like tired.
Yeah, so I don't know that phrase itself, but it was his understanding and his communication where he can express um, because of his yeah. So obviously at home it's probably quite I can imagine it's been quite difficult, but um, his view on his life, his reality, for example, is what he considers as his mum being evil, when it would probably be trying to. It could be something like I don't know what the situation was. To be honest with you, like what's happened. So I couldn't really comment on it, but it's a fact that you have just to um, trying to relate and to be there to understand his feelings and emotions, and but also taking consideration that it could be exaggerated. It's just understanding his use of language. Like you said, evil just means that he's uncomfortable, for example, but also respect the fact that he feels that way. And so it's kind of you just have to be flexible, I guess, in that situation. It's hard to express it, but yeah. And but he was lovely. It was just it's confusing for him, you know. You can remember like when autistic, you're in your own bubble, you're in your own world, aren't you? And I say, aren't you? Their understanding of the world is exactly that, and it's like they don't know anything else. You wouldn't know any other perspective. Um, yeah. So it's just I'm grateful that we were there. From that reflection, I'm grateful we were there. I was happy that to able to support support him and be able to get him home safely and find his mom and let him have a jacket. You didn't have anything on. You literally had a t-shirt and some trousers and short sleeve t-shirt. It's really cold.
It
It was
was
November.
cold. Yeah, we were wearing like winter jackets and sweaters, and he was in shorts and t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly that. And so I gave him a coat, and which was interesting, as I'm the biggest guy, and he wasn't the smallest person either. So that was interesting. And yeah, so it was a lovely
He,
moment.
he appreciated it.
Yeah.
I guarantee you. And again, the whole experience was a beautiful message and reminder, even for me, because by now I'm used to just do weird stuff, show up to places that I don't even know why I need to show up, but
Mm,
it's just the knowing that I need to be there because I am the messenger to someone.
mm,
So I wanted us to share this experience as a reminder that we are here to walk each other back home.
mm,
In every moment, we are each other's messengers. Sometimes you receive a message from someone else, sometimes you give the message. And no matter how weird the message sometimes might sound to you, gosh, I delivered so many weird messages to you. But you have to know it because that's how we evolve, that's how we help each other. I think once I delivered to a colleague, I saw stick on the ground, and the stick was like, bring me to this human. And I'm like, how, why are you gonna bring him a stick? And then I'm bringing this thing to the guy, and he's like, oh my God, how did you know? Some weird connection that meant everything for him in the moment. So we are here to deliver those messages in each moment and to show up for each other.
Yeah.
Why it is so, how do I say this? Hold on. I need human words. This experience was also another reminder, I believe, of who Ross is and your mission here and why in the first place, as a special education teacher, you were involved in that profession. Because all those young souls need guidance from all souls like you. Because they're so pure that when they come here, it's really hard for them to live in this reality, in this density, with everything that is going on in the world. Because I do have the awareness of everything, so I can manage, I can balance. But like on your side, because you don't have the higher dimensions awareness, you perceive it as overwhelm, and I've witnessed you. Like coming back from the school, and just your being just smashed, and you were like a sponge absorbing everybody else's emotions. And as soon as you did grounding and breathing, that was helpful. But nobody teaches the kids this. Nobody teaches them about energy, about their own being, about connecting with their selves, which is so important for anybody with ADHD, with autism. And it's something so ignored. And I believe one of your missions here is to be the one delivering that message, becoming the bridge, showing a different way, which you're doing with your neurodivergent clients. What is coming up with everything that we talk about? Anything you want to reflect, you want to witness, anything we're missing that you think the collective needs to know or feel?
Just listening to what you're saying and reflecting on this moment, I think it's important to recognize that, yeah, communication is incredibly unique, underrated skill to have as an asset, because there's so many different forms of communication, as you might be aware of listening to this, and knowing that if you can interact and use different dialects or bilingual, or if you've got the ability to be initiatively flexible with your communication, is going to be one of the most prominent skills and assets that you will have for success. If you're able to and learn to, or already be innate inside of you, you might be able to support so many more, not just yourself. So like I did, I'm very lucky that I was able to work in special education with about hundreds of children and of autism and ADHD and dyslexic. I'm dyslexic. And so having a brain already, which is neurodiverse, gives you that innate ability to really really understand and not just sympathize, but completely understand what the other word for it. My mind's gone blank. To really understand where they come from, to really be compassionate for them and understand and what they're trying to understand, to learn, to listen, to communicate. So all I want to say is, if you're unable to do that, you get ability every day to express, to learn, to teach, to communicate to the world of who you are and what you want to do. Being able to do that confidently will take time, but don't ever be afraid to communicate as much as you possibly can.
Beautifully said. As always, you're the one that uses human words to seem much better than me.
Thank you. That's very kind.
I'm more with the interesting side. But to add on, it's the connecting with our own voices. And not to be afraid to speak up.
Exactly.
No matter how small you are, no matter how weak your voice is, no matter how weird your voice might sound to others, no matter how weird your language might look to others, speak up. Use your voice, because your voice commands the universe. And you can change everything. You can change your reality. You can help everyone around you by finding and using every day your own authentic voice, whichever way it looks. Thank you, dear one. I have the feeling that we might have more conversation in the future.
Yes.
More and more collaborations shows up, and we can share more of our genius, our creative power, of who we are as individuals here to co-create. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for being you. Thank you for shining your light. And tremendously helping the collective, even when you don't believe you're doing. You're doing it just by being you.
Thank you for saying those lovely kind words. It's an honor, and we have a purpose, whether you know it or yet. We all have a purpose in life, and it certainly is a journey.
It's an interesting journey, but we're here to walk it, and we're here to be the example, to lead by example, to show the way, to be creators. It's almost something weird came up the other day. I'm tired of being co-founder. I want to be a creator. I'm here to create something new.
Mm-hmm.
Let's create something new.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Ross. Any final words? Anything?
I just hope, I just hope those listening to this have a maybe a light bulb moment, or a moment of clarity, or a moment of reflection, or a moment of stillness, to be able to recognize them and to see what they have value in themselves, to know they can give out to others. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, 100%. Thank you, everybody, for listening. See you in the next episode. Oh, wait, let's have a good day now.
Yeah.